This is the Frank and Friends Show. Hi there, I'm Frank Murphy.
Hi there, I'm Logan.
Logan, hello, welcome. Happy to have you here. And you're here because you're a singer, you're a songwriter, you've got a new album. I've known you, well, along half your life, maybe?
Yes.
Is that right? Is it possible?
I think so. We're coming up on probably
that point in time.
years.
Yeah, and you're very young, and I'm delighted that you're here. First of all, thank you so much for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing on YouTube for free, unlike that one guy who asked me, how much does it cost to subscribe on YouTube?
Oh.
I said, nothing, just to give up all your personal information and let Google know that you like this show.
Yes.
That's the ultimate cost, is you have to have this show listed, connected somehow to your Gmail address. We've got fabulous merch, and I want to know about it, if you've got any of your merch, or if you will be creating your merch. I think you should, and I'll tell you how.
Okay.
Because see this, like this one, this little sweatshirt over here, it's very soft.
I love it. Let me feel.
It's
Nice sweatshirt. Oh, it's got the whole back?
Yeah, well, you can decide, because when you go to the merch store, you, as the creator, you put your logo in there, and they don't even print them until somebody buys one.
Oh, that's nice.
So there's no inventory.
That's nice.
Right. So I don't have to.
I have a lot of my old inventory sitting in our attic. So.
Oh, I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
Like, see the towel over there?
Let's see the towel.
I've got the towel. It's got the logo like on the wall behind us. I ordered a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, I didn't buy it, order it yet, but
I'm gonna open it up.
Oh, sweet. See, imagine now that with L.A.M.B on it.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
You gotta tell me where people are. I gotta know how to get this.
Yeah, and they do a good job. It's
Yeah,
quality. You know, the glasses are nice. The mugs are nice. I probably should buy thinking about buying a jigsaw puzzle for my wife for Christmas. So
that's
just
so
throw that
fun.
out of the way.
All right.
All right. So now I've known you through multiple names and multiple configurations. I remember when you were Lala.
That was a thing. Yeah. It still is kind of a thing. I have it on my arm. The tattoo
Lala?
of it, of Lala.
Okay. Tell me about Lala before you tell me about L.A.M.B.
Yeah, so Lala was not ever a nickname until I moved to Nashville. I had a record deal. We were trying to figure out how to make me marketable.
Yeah.
My last name, Merle, is kind of hard to pronounce, spell.
It's easy to say, but you wouldn't spell it the way you hear it.
Yeah, so we were kind of going back and forth what to do. But I had this tattoo of Lala, which has a meaning to me.
Well, like your first initial twice,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Or L.A., Logan Ashley, Logan Ashley.
Yes. But I have the tattoo of it, and then they were like, why don't we just call you Lala? So we tried that for a bit, and then I did a few shows, and I was like, hey, I'm Lala, and it just didn't feel like we made merch for it. That's the merch that's in the attic. So
you could be Do Re Mi Fa Sol La La.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, no. It didn't work. It didn't feel right.
So then you went back to Logan Merle for a while.
Well, yeah, and then I went to Logan Ashley.
Oh, Logan
for a
Ashley.
while.
Right.
And then we one day did a little Google search of Logan Ashley, and someone named Ashley Logan came up that wasn't great. So that wasn't a great
It just sounds
fit.
like the kind of preppy clothes that we would have worn in the 80s.
Okay.
And maybe that was Laura Ashley, but that's what your mind, it all gets mushed around, and you think of that.
So we did that for a bit, and it's still my name. But funny story was when I was a kid, I wanted to grow up and marry someone with a last name that started with B, so that my initials would be Lamb.
Did you tell him that yet?
He does know that now. I didn't tell him before we got. Maybe I did, because everything was so perfect when they all came together that I was like, really, what's gonna let's just tie this all together as I'm supposed to marry you. Your last name starts with a B. You're all these things, and
before you got married, before you walked down the aisle, he was aware that you had this dream of marrying someone so that your initials, your full initials, would be L.A.M.B.
Yes, that is correct.
He's aware of this.
He's
and he still married you.
Yeah, and we think it's funny now, and now it's my
professional.
My artist's name for my new project is Lamb, and so it's
so if I accidentally call you Lamb Chop, which is a puppet this is the song that never ends. That's what
I'm not that old, but
I thought it was on PBS.
I'm kidding with you. I know what you're talking about, kind of.
Okay. No, you're right though that Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop were way like 50s and 60s TV, but I thought she had a resurgence when my kids were young. But I guess my kids are that much older than you.
Maybe a little bit.
A lot. Yeah. Come to think of it. So that then Lamb Chop is too old. Okay. And then there's probably other well-known lambs, or no? Not so many.
Not really. There's a famous football player right now whose last name is Lamb, which is cool. Whenever I see his jersey on the screen.
You could get one of those.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's just a lot of little lamb things going on.
I've got some frozen lamb in the fridge over there in the freezer.
I do not like eating lamb.
Because of your name?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I've had it and I don't like it. Maybe that's it.
It has a taste.
simple.
It definitely you can do a blind taste test between lamb and what else would you beef? Let's say you can tell the difference.
Yeah. We had lamb chili. I just wasn't a fan. And Hendrix bought up a bunch of it. My husband Hendrix, he bought up a bunch of lamb meat, and we had it in the freezer. And I was like,
not going to do it.
It's just
all right. So my wife and I went to Ireland, and we had shepherd's pie. Plus, we got to see how remarkably dumb the lambs and sheep actually are in real life. So we don't feel guilty about eating them.
Okay. Is it dumb in real life?
They're so dumb.
Oh no.
But it's also fascinating. I'll sometimes watch sheep herding videos when I happen, if I, once in a while, Instagram will put, right now I'm getting s'mores. I'm still getting s'mores food, but now I'm getting a lot of candy corn videos.
Oh, okay.
But
I like candy
at one point over the summer, I was getting lamb sheep herding videos. And what'll happen is the shepherd dog, the sheepdog, will be just sitting there, and the sheep are fine. They just move around. But if the dog were to get up and get into wolf posture, and they stand up and they do a certain pose, it scares the daylights out of the sheep so that they run in the direction that the dog wants them to run.
All they have to do is stand up and
All they have to do is stand up and go into wolf posture, or maybe run around a little bit in wolf mode, and it drives all the sheep where they need to go, and then the shepherd whistles to the dog, and the dog just lays down and relaxes, and the sheep can no longer see the dog. It's like he went invisible.
That's crazy.
That's how dumb they are.
Well, all right. Well, I still don't like the way it tastes, but that's a good story.
So the reason I contacted you is because I saw your videos. You're making some social media videos to get ready for the album, which is released on
20th.
That's a Sunday.
Yeah, October.
That's why.
No. Normally music comes out on Fridays. I'm trying to be quirky and different.
Okay. See, I'm so old. I remember when it used to come out on, I think, Tuesdays.
Okay, Tuesdays.
Because they were trying to work the charts. You would try to get all your new big songs and albums released on Tuesdays because it gave you the maximum number of days before the chart was calculated. So they must do everything different now. But that was the theory then, is if the charts were calculated on Mondays, you put the new stuff out on Tuesdays so that by the time the chart was calculated, you could have racked up 7 or 6.5 days of sales. But now I guess nothing matters anymore with what I'm learning.
And I'm not, I'm not totally chasing I'm not trying to compete with the charts, I guess, but you never know.
How are you, in what formats are you releasing the album, and what's it called?
It's called Love Mom, and it'll be, yeah.
Like it's to your kids, right?
It's to my kids.
It's a love letter to your kids.
Yes. When I started having babies and I started writing lullabies and all these songs started coming out, melodies, because I had really taken a hiatus from music a little bit. I had just kind of done it a lot and decided to change my life a little bit, and hadn't been doing a ton of music. And then one night I was trying to put my toddler to bed, and she just wasn't having it. So this song just came out and kind of sparked the idea of this whole album.
Which one is that?
It's called Sweetest Thing.
Is that? I think I might have heard this one. I mean, you want to grab your guitar if you want to just
so
keep it close. Keep it close in case you decide, in case you are so moved that you feel. Moved. I'm not forcing you, but I'm just saying.
Sorry about that.
What's that?
The back of this guitar scratched all the.
The microphone.
Maybe the microphone or my buttons on my pants.
Oh, it's fun.
Or my snazzy outfit.
You do look like a news anchor. I love it. I mean, as many news anchors in town will tell you, I am quite the fan of that look.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very classic and timeless. And I wore my red. Red is kind of the.
There's a song about the album cover has a cardinal on it, which is one of my favorite birds. Obviously, everyone's favorite bird, but
you see them a lot. So.
The northern cardinal, yes, and then so there's that, and then the song, the Redbird,
Bobby and the Redbird. So
right.
that one was inspired by. There's a hotel in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where we live, and they have a statue out front with a cardinal, and my daughter, they were on a little bike ride, and she stopped, and they saw it and sent me a Snapchat, and I wrote Bobby and the Redbird about that.
So we're talking about two songs at the same time. So let's go back to I started it. We'll go back to the lullaby first, and then get to all the red.
Yeah. So I'll play a little bit.
I almost wore a red shirt. Now I'm kicking myself.
Oh well,
Oh well.
This is my dad's old guitar too, and it's red, so I thought I'd bring it. But I typically do Sweetest Thing on the piano, but I have a little guitar version. I'll do
Okay.
a little.
I guess we could go get my wife's electric piano.
Oh,
it
but
would
we
take it would
could.
take quite a bit.
Yeah. So this is Sweetest Thing, and it really did spark the whole inspiration to make the album.
Okay.
Lying in your bed right now, doing your best not to fall asleep. I can see your eyes getting heavy. Everything you do is the sweetest thing. I got all I ever wanted, and I wish everyone could understand. A house on a hill, a dog in the yard, someone to grow with, that's living the dream. It's not about money, it's all about dancing and not being afraid. So don't be afraid. And you're lying in your bed right now, doing your best not to fall asleep. I can see your eyes getting heavy. Everything you do is the sweetest thing. So it's just a pretty lullaby.
It's beautiful.
And I love it so much.
Yeah.
So you'll the rest on my album on the 20th of October. You can find it there on the piano.
Yeah, I'll probably put this episode out on the 21st or 22nd, so that
cool.
boom, get
It'll
it,
already
and
be
I'll have you'll have sent me the links. Actually, you can't send me the links from your what is you wearing, a Nokia flip phone
Let me
over
show
here?
everyone. Yes, so I wanted to go back in time and just kind of eliminate social media for a little while, and I went to the old Nokia. It's been really fun.
At least you have the same number. I was.
But this is my favorite part. You can flip it open and say hello, and then nice sound when you close it. It's like
you could hang up on somebody. You could actually physically hang up on someone.
Yes, exactly.
Now, so that was fantastic and inspired by your child.
Mm-hmm.
And first child,
My first child,
the older
yeah.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I thought I saw, was it your dad contributing to the Bobby and the Redbird song?
Yes.
So it made me wonder if he was Bobby or if he was the Redbird, but now you've explained it. It's this
Well, he
hotel.
also was Bobby. So my daughter was named after my dad, Robert, Bobby, Bob.
But Bobby in the song
my
is
daughter.
your daughter, Bobby. Okay. Who saw the Redbird in
Yes.
Bowling Green at the
Yes.
hotel.
Yeah, so I wrote that, and then my dad has a little feature on that, and it's fun. Because he kind of is who got me into, this was his guitar, he played guitar when I was growing up, and got me into it. So and I've always, I'll go ahead and kind of spill it now, but he did a little whistling on that song, and I always grew up hearing him whistle, and he's the best, and I can't whistle, I just can't whistle in tune, it's just horrible and just bad.
Okay.
And he's a phenomenal whistler, so it's cool to have him.
I'm sorry that I'm laughing.
No, it's...
But no, I'm reminded of my dear grandfather.
Oh,
Every time he enjoyed a good whistle, but he wasn't a great whistler. He would kind of do this, but I liked whistling. And my grandfather would tell me stories about don't say bad things about people. Try not to insult people, but he would tell the story about the old Irishman who would go to the funeral of the person, his enemy. He went to his enemy's funeral. He didn't like him at all, but he went to the funeral anyway. And he gets up and finally he says he's face to face with the widow right there in front of the casket. And the only thing he can say about the dead is, he whistled well.
Oh, wow.
So rather than say what he really thought,
at least he had something.
He found the one, he couldn't speak ill of the dead, he found the one compliment he could think of. And of course, it's just a story, it's not real,
no,
but
I like it though. That's funny.
he whistled well.
Yeah.
So every time I hear about whistling, I also have a friend, I used to whistle a lot, but I've got a friend who claims to be hypersensitive to it and would freak out if you whistled near him. So
I know that's a thing. My
is it a thing? Okay.
My sister can't stand when
I
she
thought it was
whistling.
just I thought he was being passive aggressive. and just was trying to control us.
Just kidding. Sorry, Taylor.
So your sister is whistle sensitive.
Yeah, she doesn't. Maybe she's just my dad sensitive. I'm being funny.
Yeah, you are.
It's a funny family joke. She doesn't. She gets kind of annoyed with the whistling, but.
Oh, yeah, this guy he had all this backstory about why he hated whistling, and I mean, if you're watching the show, you know who you are, and I'll also tell you, I only remember about half of the backstory because what I got was, well, just don't whistle.
Yeah.
And I just stopped. Okay. And my grandson, though, is very good at whistling, and I didn't know this, my daughter mentioned to it, and he can carry a tune. He's interested in playing trumpet, and as he gets older, he's only in 5th grade, but I've mentioned in a previous episode, Artie, you've got to do your homework before you do trumpet again. You got to do your other stuff first. Oh, nice. All right, well, let's do a quick commercial. I mentioned that my grandpa went to a funeral once upon a time, and we talk about funerals sometimes when we discuss bonezones.com.
Oh.
Don't forget the S. You're wondering where I was going with that.
I could see it coming around.
Yeah, thank you. That's segues as subtle as a train wreck. It's long sleeve shirt season, so you might want to get the.
I like the long sleeve.
Get the long sleeve Body Farm tee with Dr. Bass's signature imprinted on the back and a list of all the books. And I'll mention that again because I can whip together a forensic a forensic lecture about any of these books because I interviewed Dr. Bass about all of these books, and I recently did a speech in Von Orr for the Rarity Bay Women's Club, and we did really, I'll call it intro to decomposition, where we talked about the book Death's Acre, but I think I'm going to go back and do a talk on the book called The Devil's Bones, which is about death by fire. One of the ones I also enjoy is called Beyond the Body Farm. It's a nonfiction book, number 4 on the list, where they talk about these actual cases like exhuming the Big Bopper. You know who the Big Bopper is?
No, tell me.
Okay. Do you know about the day the music died?
The day the music died?
Yeah, Don McLean, who I went to the same high school as Don McLean, coincidentally, but that's got really nothing to do with it. He's the most famous graduate of my high school, is Don McLean.
You aren't?
No, Don McLean. And allegedly Frank Abagnale, who you probably wouldn't know unless you saw the movie that Tom Hanks was in called Catch Me If You Can.
I have seen that. Yep.
The guy that Leonardo DiCaprio played was Frank Abagnale, and he claims to have gone to the same high school that Don McLean went to, and then I went to years and years later. But apparently there's some doubt that he might have been making that up. But anyway, good story. But point is, the day the music died is when Richie Valens, Buddy Holly, and the Big Bopper were killed on February 3rd, 1959 in a plane crash. And years later, Dr. Bass was conscripted to exhume the Big Bopper and look at his corpse while they were moving him to a different part of the cemetery anyway. He was coming up out of the ground anyway, and the family had questions about Big Bopper's death. So Dr. Bass looked him over, x-rayed him, and answered their questions to their satisfaction. And that's in the book Beyond the Body Farm. So I can do a lecture about that one. And I was thinking I probably could do a good lecture on The Bone Thief, because that one is about they corrupt. It's a fiction book, but it was about a corrupt funeral home where they stole the arms and leg bones of people and sold them to make bone burger.
Bone burger.
Bone burger. Yeah, they use it like in dentistry.
Oh.
Like if your teeth are rotten and they're trying to need to grow your bone back to grip the implants and things like that. Oh. Yeah, they take bones from
so you can
dead
eat burgers
people.
Again?
Well, you could eat burgers once you use the ground up bone, put that in your mouth, and it stimulates your jaw to regrow, or whatever part of you, wherever your broken bones are. This bone burger from dead people can help you heal.
Wow, this all sounds very Halloween-y.
Yes, and that's not that should be the title of a book, but it's not. I think there was a movie called Halloween-y, and it might have been a Tim Burton short. Off to the races with my mind right now, and Death's Acre, Carved in Bone, the first 2 books, these are autographed by Dr. Bass. All of the books are available, autographed by him. Had lunch with him over Labor Day weekend. He is 96.
I was going to ask, how old is he?
96.
Wow. Do you know his plan for his body?
He has changed his mind a couple of times, but now his current plan is let his 3 sons decide. Oh. Before that, the plan was get cremated but don't get pulverized, and have his bones in a collection somewhere, either at the University of Tennessee in the William M. Bass donated skeletal collection, or however, whatever, in the Smithsonian might be, somebody could use them, I'm sure. But maybe the Sons just want to go ahead and bury the bones, or they might want to go ahead and pulverize them into quote unquote ashes, or whatever, but that's the plan.
Wow.
So
Okay.
there you go.
I haven't thought about that far yet.
Anyway, bonezones.com. Don't forget the S. I hope not. I mean, you're in your 20s still,
I'm not
right?
30 yet. I'm
Yeah.
getting there.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think about it, but then again, I'm like one of those guys who, I like looking at classical art that has what's called the memento mori in it.
Okay.
And you'll see sometimes in a still life from the Renaissance or the Middle Ages or anywhere, these beautiful paintings. And it's like it's got everything in it. It's got the flowers, it's got the fruit, it's got whatever. It's a still life. And then there's like a skull.
Okay.
And you're like, why? And why is there death references in so many pieces of beautiful art from the classical artists? And that's called memento mori. Memento, remember, mori, death. So just remember, as you think about all the life, remember that someday you will die. And live like, what's that country song?
Live like you're dying.
Yeah, there's live like you're dying, or live, make every day count. There's another one, like live like today's your last day kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's multiple songs of that theme.
Yeah.
That's memento mori. That's it.
Have you heard that the Queen would always, every year, think about her death? She had a day.
Queen Elizabeth?
Yeah. She would think about her death every year, and it was like a day on her calendar.
Well, she thought about it a lot then, because she lived to be very, very old.
But my father-in-law told me that.
And they would update her funeral plans
They would
or
she
something?
would go through it again and just kind of, and it would, I guess, remind her of,
Well, because people like the Queen, and maybe not the specific president per se, but the office of the president. They always have a funeral plan. It's because it's so elaborate and so involved. And I've read books and articles about Jacqueline Kennedy after JFK was killed, what she wanted certain things. So they didn't have a full plan, I don't think, at the time. They didn't expect him to die, obviously. But she very clearly wanted things that echoed Abraham Lincoln's funeral.
Okay.
Wanted like the same catafalque, I think is what it's called. Anyway, the same
You use a
thing.
lot of words that I don't know.
All right, it's like a box that they put the casket on top of, a stand. She wanted the same one for JFK,
wow.
so his casket went on top of the same wooden stand that Lincoln's was on, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe the funeral procession or the parade was similar. So that kind of is very interesting.
Yeah. Isn't it funny where we go in talking? Just
Sure.
All the
conversations
just go. It's
I do talk
like
about
it, though. I
death
really do.
a lot. One of our Scholars Bowl questions this year, for the second year in a row, I put these visual questions into the game. And to me, they're like Macy's Thanksgiving Day balloons. You put them in for a few years, and then you retire them and replace them maybe with a new version. Like the Snoopy balloon has been in the parade forever, but there's like 10 or 15 different Snoopy balloons over the years. Well, anyway, so we've got a visual question, and I love it so much. It's a picture of Abraham Lincoln's funeral procession. Now, they embalmed him and drove him around to different cities. So they took him up to New York, dead Abraham Lincoln, and they had a funeral procession down Broadway. So it's a huge parade, and they're dragging, the hearse by horseback, and it's going past. And on this particular photograph, it's a huge photograph, but it's so detailed. There's a kid looking out the window of their family apartment or their family home on Broadway.
Oh, wow.
A little kid, right? And they were able to figure out that kid, that 4, 5, 6-year-old kid, looking at Abraham Lincoln's funeral procession was Theodore Roosevelt.
No way. That's your new questions?
Yeah.
Well, if you're on here now, you'll know the answer.
Right. Well, I mean, I kind of spoon-feed it to him. It's like, whose funeral procession is this that occurred on April 20-something of 1865? So they hear that, and they're like, oh, April 1865, that's 2 weeks after Lincoln was killed. Let's guess Lincoln. Right. And I'll say, and visible is the some kid who would become our nation's 26th president.
Okay.
So if they know their presidents by number order, then they can spit out
Couldn't be
Theodore.
me. I'm just a singer.
While we're talking Scholars Bowl real quick, I'll show you what I'm working on.
Okay.
Check out this chart that I've got on my computer where
goodness.
I've got a chart to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit because I came up with
goodness.
this idea, and I went through and I circled certain degrees that I can ask Scholars Bowl questions about to make them convert Fahrenheit to Celsius.
Couldn't be
Celsius to
me.
Fahrenheit.
That'd be me in the little group if we were together answering questions. Pass.
Do you ever do trivia night?
I do a little bit of trivia night.
It's kind of like that. I mean, in that.
These questions sound, well, yeah, it's fun. You can mingle and talk with your group and get there somehow.
Right.
I have added and contributed and gotten some questions answered.
What's your expertise? Music or?
Probably music, but you'd be surprised because a lot of music I don't know names in years and stuff. I just know how to sing it and play it.
Well, my wife throws in music theory questions that are over my head.
Yeah.
So when I'm asking about fermatas and that's the only one I can think of right now. But whatever these other things are, these musical symbols we'll put up on the screen maybe, or I'll ask how many beats does a somethingth note get, and the kids who are do band, they get it. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like me asking a pre-calculate question. I literally don't know what I'm saying, but the quantity, the absolute value of 3i times. Good luck.
Funny.
All right.
I do want to ask you sometime to write me up a little thing, since you said I look like a news anchor, because sometimes I practice talking like a news anchor, and I'm really good at it. But
Can you do the fake voice, like the news anchor voice? Have you seen these videos?
I mean, I kind of can, but on the spot, I don't know. I might get nervous, but I'm pretty good at.
There's a woman who in Indianapolis who does the like she reports live on her toddler's antics.
Oh, that's hilarious.
She'll grab whatever is around and use it as a pretend microphone, a toy, or whatever, and she gets into that. That's right, Bill and Barb, and she drops her voice down. A little bit deeper,
sure.
And she does, and says all those cliches like sources tell us, or it's been reported.
And those are the things that I wouldn't know how to throw in. The sources tell us that. Yeah. But when it comes to the voice change, I like to practice something.
All right. Well, if you were saying coming up tonight on Action News.
Coming up tonight on Action News. We have blah, 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 blah. I need it written out.
Okay.
But it does. It's like lowering your voice a little bit and
sounds so serious
and making it more like.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yes, we are here tonight with Frank Murphy.
And a little bit of that tiny little bit, not the full up talk, but just a little bit.
Sometimes when I'm nervous, I talk faster, so that's the problem.
And they do definitely slow down.
Yes.
That's right, Barb.
We'll practice this for next time.
Oh, good. That'd be fun. That'd be totally fun. I'll send you the link to the lady in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's great.
And, you can, because she just does it on Instagram. It'd be funny if you could do that with your husband, make a video announcing the debut of your new album.
Oh, that would be fun.
While you're in the outfit. And say, details on this week's Frank and Friends show.
Yes.
Well, tell me more about the album. We've talked about we've heard one song, Beautiful, and we've talked about Bobby and the Redbird. How many songs are on it?
There are 12 songs.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
How long did it take?
It just kind of happened. One of them was written right after my daughter was born. That
who's older?
My daughter. She's
okay.
2.5. My son turns 1 on October 20th. So the album will release on his birthday.
Is that on purpose? Okay.
Yeah.
He's only 1?
Yeah.
I feel like I've known that. Okay, 1.
Yep. So, but yeah, there's 12 songs, and I had just decided once I wrote Sweetest Thing that I'm gonna do this album. I put a date on it. I said I want it out on Merle's first birthday, and then I said that, so then I had to do it, and I would put them to bed at night and work on it at 9:30, and
because that is a heck of a deadline.
Yeah.
My daughter is an artist, so she draws and paints, and that's her release. So she'll go. She has a little studio space away from the house, so she's able to go over there and just get away from work and get away from home, but. It's not when the kids are that little. It's really hard.
It's been interesting, and there's been times where I'm like, why did I put a date on this? Oh my goodness! But it's all come together, and
well, it forces you into making decisions. Like the album cover art. You could have, if you didn't have a deadline, you would have futzed around with that for who knows how long. But you put a deadline on it, you realize you can do it.
Yep, and it all came together. I actually. Met and made friends with someone in Bowling Green who offered to mix it for me. So I did most of the mixing as I went and did some of the cool sounds and things that you'll hear on vocals and things. And then he offered to mix it for me and make it all sound cohesive. And so that was a true blessing. And then I did use a little bit of AI for my cover. I actually drew it first, and then that was completely horrible. So if I had, decided to work on it for a while or years, it may have ended up being all right. But then I said, I'd put it in this AI thing, and it came out just
the way
awesome.
you wanted it.
I mean, it was just so cool. So
if you put in the right prompts, you get the result that you want.
Yep. So went with that, and there's I don't know. So there's so many little things. There are a couple points in the album where I did like one take, and I loved what I got. But there's I'll hear it. My husband can't always hear it, but my daughter like screams faintly in the background. She's in her bedroom.
Did you leave it in?
I left it in, and it's there a little bit, and I'll always hear it. I think that's kind of funny, and because it was real life. I mean, I'm at home. I have my studio at home, and
when you said you do tricks with the vocals, do you mean like it's all you layering on top of you, or you have other people singing like Bobby, your dad?
Oh no, just me, and then I'll put like there's. I used GarageBand, and there's this effect called 70s flanger. So I put that on there, and I just like the way it sounds in a few songs, or one of the songs. And so I wanted a couple things to be a little quirky and fun. I added that in. And
how many instruments? Is it guitar?
So guitar, piano, mandolin, ukulele, shaker.
It's all you, though. So, all right, so you set all this stuff up. Explain this story to me, how I assume the album was finished and you decided to take all of the instruments and a blanket to a parking garage? What happened? What did this...
Yeah, so I needed some content, and as I told y'all earlier that I have a flip phone, I am not doing the social media thing. I went to the parking garage. My husband helped me he was my roadie. He set it all up. We turned the camera on, we filmed for like an hour, I did all the songs, and I said, there you go, there's my footage. And he's kind of a nerd, loves the techie stuff.
Yeah.
He put it all into iMovie, made all these little videos.
iMovie's good.
He has my old phone, I have this phone, and he has been posting everything for me. Honestly, I just say, what have you posted today? And I've trusted him just to do it. I don't know if he's made me look like a goofball, but I kind of am a goofball.
It made me contact you, and now I feel bad that I was using Instagram to reply to your videos.
He told me and I did all that. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was great. But he's been great. So I like taking a little hiatus from social media sometimes.
Well, it's
nice
smart because I think about that a lot. Because we all have our addictions, and and there's certain things about it where it might just prompt you to think things or be mad or get trigger emotions that you don't need to trigger, whether it's sadness or anger or envy. You can start being envious of other people because they've got their fabulous Instagram influencer totally fake lifestyles.
Yep. Yeah, I chose to do this for my mental health, and just really focus on the people that are really in my life. You can get caught up in the people that are that you don't talk to on a regular basis, and you just look at what they've got going on. And I want to really keep up with the people that want to keep up with me too, like you and, family and close friends. And so it's been awesome. And then my kids haven't seen me on it as much, which has been really nice because
you got to lead by example.
Yeah, I can't tell them that they can if I'm scrolling on it all the time.
Yeah.
But there is still a place, and I know that we're in the world now, and I'm thankful for it, because if we weren't with this technology, I wouldn't be able to independently release an album on all platforms and do this, and hopefully let people find it somehow. So I am thankful for social media.
Not to get too very deep on it, but I'll listen to prayer podcasts, right? And they keep talking about how you gotta, don't get sucked down into social media. And I'm thinking, but I'm using the social media technically to listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
But I guess there's some value to it. I don't want to give up. I don't put the phone away completely because I'm able to listen to some of these religious speakers that I enjoy while I'm driving or while I'm making coffee in the morning.
I have missed that. That I was getting into more podcast listening or different apps for radio where you can, I got into the Catholic radio. I'm not Catholic, but I was starting to listen to the Catholic radio.
Well, you're in the right spot, because that's exactly what I was talking about.
Okay. Well, I was listening to that all the time, and so I miss being able to, I don't have anything on this phone, but Yeah, so now I just actually listen to the radio and.
Oh, I got to call. We got to see if we can get a Catholic station in Bowling Green for you to listen to on regular old AM.
Yeah, that's too funny.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. All right. So you understand what I'm talking about.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to use the technology. Even my godmother, my aunt, who she claims that she doesn't even have email because she cut it off. So I don't know how she has a phone. I don't know how she's able to watch YouTube, but her kids will text her. Everything is text.
Okay.
So if I wanted to watch like this episode, and I might send it to her, I could text her to her and she can watch it. Or she can listen to like one of these homilies that I might send her and say, listen to this, or listen to this speech by this priest gave at a keynote somewhere, and I'll get a response. Oh, that was great. Thank you for sending it.
Oh yeah.
So even though she doesn't have email or doesn't have social media, she can still
sure.
use her iPhone to listen to stuff like that. If I send her a radio station, hey, listen to me, Joanna, I'm on the radio.
Yeah. You're on the radio.
Yay! Well, cool. So. Tell us more of the titles before we have to wrap, because I know any minute now the car's going to be pulling up the driveway with your whole family and the kids ready to whisk you away.
Yep, we're on to the next thing, some half-price chicken wing night.
That's a song. That sounds like a song.
Oh my goodness! I'll just say whatever, I guess. It's true.
I've interviewed you a couple of times before on PBS, and you've been here on the podcast before. And I think I told you that I interviewed Emily Ann Roberts, who you and she have a lot in common because you both competed in that high school talent contest.
TTE.
Yeah.
Was that? Yeah. I didn't know she was in that. Was she?
Yeah. Well, I think she.
Actually, she was on American Idol or The
she was
Voice.
on The Voice.
Yeah,
But what happened was she knew she was going to be on The Voice. She ended up winning CTE, but immediately forfeited it so that the second place winner could win.
Oh.
Because she had a contract to go to The Voice, but couldn't tell anybody.
Okay.
So she couldn't accept, as much as she would love to have accepted the prize. The recordings.
That makes sense.
It was a studio recording time, right? Was the prize?
Yep.
And she thought, well, why would I take that away from? I'm about to go out to L.A. and do The Voice. I should not take that away from a local kid. So she forfeited her prize to the second place.
That's so nice.
To the runner-up. Well, anyway, I asked her, how do you write these songs? Because it struck me that Dolly Parton, I listened to a whole podcast about Dolly Parton, and you and she kind of talk in song titles and you don't even realize it.
It's funny. Taking a little pen with you and writing these things down, they could be some good
like it's
country
half-price
music.
chicken wing night. I don't know why that strikes me as the way you said it. It came out in my mind musically, as opposed to me just saying, "Hey, it's half-price chicken wings."
I think it's
There's nothing
tone
musical.
Of voice too. Like she probably too grew up listening to Dolly, and it's just that country East Tennessee thing.
Well, you'll be very proud of me. On the previous episode, I told the story of where the song title "Two Doors Down" came from. Oh. Because I saw Dolly on an Instagram reel, because I was watching it on Instagram.
Doing the thing, I know.
And it was a clip of her somewhere telling how they were at Howard Johnson's hotel and that she was on a diet and couldn't eat the fried clams, but the rest of the band was at the restaurant 2 doors down, and she was just singing how she wishes she could be down there missing the party that was going on 2 doors down.
That's so funny. And that is just how a lot of songs come about. I mean, most of the songs on my album came about by literally saying it and then going, well, and then just making a melody with it.
That to me is a magic trick also. How do you make a melody out of nothing?
I don't know. Melodies are my favorite though. Out of lyrics or everything, melodies are kind of what just kind of, I would honestly say that my melodies come and then I think about an old lyric or something and then put it with it. I love melodies, so.
So they're just floating around in there?
Floating around. I mean, and they come in waves, I have my melody block, but.
All right, so I guess I guess it makes sense if I'm trying to analyze this, and of course I'm going to overanalyze it, so please allow, that there are certain notes, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, we know all that, but there's certain notes that that are like the letters of when I'm writing. So I can write a press release, I can write a blog post, I've written most of a book, and it's not that hard for me. And I use, like you were talking, remember you were teasing me for using big words?
Yeah.
And that's just something that's just, I can't help myself. Yeah. That's just how I communicate. But if I took those letters of the alphabet or took those words in my vocabulary and they could magically transform into musical notes, I'd be Beethoven. No,
Yeah.
no, I mean, nobody's Beethoven. I would be some low budget.
I just said that the other
Songwriter.
day. I sang at a wedding, and they wanted me to do a Lainey Wilson song, and I sang it. They're like, "Man, you're like I feel like we got Lainey Wilson at our wedding," and I was like, "You got like the Dollar Tree Lainey Wilson, baby." And it was funny. I saw that on TikTok. People say like the
Dollar Tree version.
the Dollar General version or whatever.
I can relate to that. That makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's just so I am baffled by it. It's like you can do something that others can do, but is foreign to me. I guess I struggle at church. I can't read the sheet music or whatever you call it.
Yeah, and I don't read sheet music really either.
I mean, I get lost. It's so basic. It's right there, and you should be able to just go, but it's this line, and then there's like 3 lines under it that you have to skip.
Yep.
And then, wait, what?
Yep.
I'm trying to read along with the lyrics, and I lose. By the time we get to the second line of it, I'm lost.
But you just got to sing loud and proud. That's what God says. So I'll sing sometime at church, and I'm not looking at it, and I don't know the hymn, and it comes out however. But we're just singing. My husband's next to me. He sings loud and proud too. He doesn't really sing.
The church I go to hires mostly opera singers in the choir. I'm like, I don't want to. I can't.
You got to sing loud and proud.
I just
Craig.
want to hear. I want to hear them sing.
Yeah, I know.
And my wife sings at church too, so I can't compete with her. Let her know. I'll listen to you. You're good. You sing. Have you done you wouldn't have ever done this, but sometimes the trick where you just kind of move your lips, pretend, and you're singing basically, mumbo jumbo. It's like, just to
The thing
pretend.
when I was a kid was watermelon. You just say watermelon, watermelon.
Oh,
And it just looks like you're saying it.
they used to tell actors, background actors, atmosphere, to just walk around mumbling peas and carrots, peas and carrots, peas and carrots, to make it look like you're having a conversation
funny, yeah.
in the back of a movie or of a
I always
TV
wondered
show.
what people are saying in those backgrounds, in the
Yeah.
how they're keeping the character going or what are they doing.
Well, I did
Peas and
that
carrots.
twice, maybe 3 times. I was a background actor, and that's what they told us. They said just go back there and just say peas and carrots.
That's funny. That's very funny.
Once in a movie and once in a TV show. Yeah, I guess it must have been just the twice. But it was both times. It was fun.
Yeah, I bet.
It was, One was...
What was it?
The movie was one of the worst movies in history,
Okay.
according to all official authorities. It was Julia Sweeney and Dave Foley in a movie called It's Pat.
Okay.
And there's a scene where
Can
Julia
we
Sweeney...
see you?
Well, kind of, because there's a scene at the end where Pat and Chris get married. And they filmed it at this Friendship Bell in like Long Beach, California. And they invited radio people to come be the extras because they didn't have to pay us. And they thought we would do it for publicity. And some guys came in, I think, from other parts of the country, but we were local LA. So the DJ at the station, Jay Thomas, he was too famous to do the bit. Okay. So we, as his underlings, as his staff, my friend Rodney and I, we went and we did it. And I said to Rodney, I said, as the camera's on a crane and it's pulling out for the long shot, I said, come on, Rodney. And we separated ourselves from the bulk of the DJs. We're all supposed to wave there like we're wedding guests.
Okay.
So as most of the people are over here, I walk about 20 yards away from the pack and wave. So that's how you would see it.
Okay.
Know that it's me.
Well, you'll have to send me that too, or send me the name again. And
I have it on VHS.
oh, okay.
I've never actually.
Is it streaming anywhere?
I don't know. I've never actually watched the whole movie.
Okay.
I just
went
watched
to your part. I would do that too.
I mean, it's supposed to be a really bad movie, and so that's what I would know. And then the other one, same Jay Thomas I told you about. He was an actor who was on shows like Cheers, and he had his Murphy Brown, and he had his own sitcom for a little while. And there was a scene where his character was going to the movies, and he asked everybody at the radio station. Anybody at the radio station could come be an extra on this episode because they needed a theater full of people, right? They had a fake movie theater in the, or I guess they just rent it, whatever. So they could do this scene where Jay Thomas and Susan Day, who used to be on the Partridge Family, are having a date, and there's people around reacting to this chick flick that they're watching. And I was the only one of the staff that said I would do it. So I got to sit right in front of Jay, and I was called featured extra. Ooh. And I'm very visible in the whole movie. walking around the lobby with the peas and carrots, trying to buy popcorn.
Oh, that's fun.
Sitting in the theater, and then part of it is Jay would then at the end of the show episode throws his popcorn in the air, and most of it lands on me, which was fun because I know that guy. I'll throw the popcorn on him.
Yeah.
So that's my big acting,
cool.
my huge acting experience.
So were you in the credits? What you said? Featured
extra?
Extra?
No.
Come on.
Well, none of the Atmosphere people are listed by name.
Oh, they're not? Okay.
Yeah, but I suppose if I had a way to go on IMDb, I have an IMDb credit.
Oh.
Because I've been in enough other stuff or a guy who, let's see, what am I on IMDb? It's like Frank Murphy the Eighth. There's like
Oh, that's funny.
I don't remember which one I am. Here I am at the first. Of course, I come up first on my own search. This improvised movie called Fishbait.
Improvised movie.
Oh, I'm Frank Murphy the 14th.
The 14th?
Frank Murphy XIV on IMDb.
That's great.
So my list of credits is Fishbait the movie.
That's really cool that you have a...
Here's a documentary called Chair that has never come out.
Okay.
And I don't know that he's ever going to finish it, so I don't think that'll ever come out. And then this other Einstein Simplified 25th anniversary DVD. So if I could get into this somehow, I could add my PBS TV shows.
Oh goodness, you need to do that. That's so cool to have this
be on my IMDb.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know how. You have to be a member, or you have to have someone who's legit can go on. You can't just go adding your own credits. But I could say featured extra in Love and War episode number blah blah blah, or guy who walks away from wedding party and It's Pat the movie. So don't watch Fishbait if you can help it, because that's the movie in which I get eaten by a giant catfish.
Oh, that sounds...
Fortunately, I die first, so I don't have to watch the rest of the movie. I only have to watch...
Sounds like what's
Jaws?
the play I was in?
Oh, Little Shop of Horrors?
Yeah, Little Shop of Horrors.
The play I was in.
In high school.
That's one of my favorite shows. I would have gone to see it even if you weren't in it. In fact, my wife and I did go see another production of mostly young people, but it was all ages, in Pigeon Forge one time. Yeah, I'll go see that movie any old time. That play any old time.
I saw it like last year, I think, again in Nashville. It was a older group, more mature, so they had cuss words. We didn't do that at the high school. But it was way different.
But that's the actual script. Is the Mean Green Mother from Outer Space.
I didn't say that, or that wasn't in. It was funny.
Yeah, well, it started as off-Broadway. In fact, there's a current version of it, I think, with like big-name actors.
Oh, wow.
Might still be running off-Broadway in New York. Like, is it Christian Burl? Some kind of like, he was, I don't know.
Yeah,
you can Google it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I could chat with you for a while. Is there anything else you want to take us out with before it's time to wrap?
I could play another song. I do want to mention I have a duet on my album that it's a really cool song with an artist named Rob Crosby. He's someone I wrote a lot with in Nashville during my stint in town, and we had to co-write together when I decided to make the album. And before we started writing, he said, "I just got to let you know, I just had my first grandchild, if you didn't know." And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And I said, "I wrote a song about him coming into the world, and I want to play it for you before we start writing." And I was like, "Okay." And he didn't know about my album or anything, and he played it, and I just like, I started like tearing up, and I was like, "Rob, I want this on my album." And so he let me duet with him.
Oh, sweet.
And so it is my collab on the album, and it's a phenomenal song. And he has number one hits. It's called Welcome to the World. But he has some number ones in country music, and is just a great person. And it was really cool to just have that all happen in the year time span that I was working on the album. And
yes.
So that song I'm really excited for people to hear, and I haven't teased it at all. He plays all of it, so I'm just a featured vocalist.
But it's on your album.
It's on my album, yeah.
That's fantastic.
So that'll be fun for people to hear, and But I guess I can play a little bit of Bobby and the Redbird with my red on.
Yeah, please.
I'm playing on my dad's guitar as we close out.
Yeah.
Let me put my capo on. So.
Okay. So fancy.
Yeah.
Got hardware that she knows how to use.
My tuners, I think that's what these are called, were falling off. One of them fell off on the way here, and my dad glued it back on for me. This guitar's been around the world, I heard.
Glue in the car?
No, in the garage before we left. It was falling off, and I said, we got to do something about that. Bobby and the Redbird riding in the breeze together, taking in all the weather on this cool and cloudy day. Oh, Bobby and the Redbird, Bobby and the Redbird. One has on a sweater, the other just a bunch of feathers, but they both feel nice and warm. Oh, Bobby and the Redbird. Bobby and the Redbird couldn't think life was better. We'd all be a whole lot sweller if we looked at it that way, like Bobby and the Redbird. Bobby and the Redbird.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's just a little ditty.
I'm kind of glad that we're recording this late in the afternoon, because last time you wanted to come like at crack of dawn.
I was a crack of dawn. My voice was not ready. And, yeah.
Yeah, you're warmed up.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you, Frank.
Well, I'll call you L.A.M., L.A.M.B.
Which is still a little weird. I don't know how I'll get used to it, but that's where we are right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can still call you Logan. Am I allowed?
For sure, I'm still Logan. And this project is when I'm on the news.
When you're being interviewed on the news by the ladies of the red jacket.
Hello, I'm Lamb. I don't know yet, but it felt right, and I also with this project, I want children to find it and love it, and so that's the genre I'm releasing it under, and I don't want them to find this song and then find Lonely as Hell, where I wanted to kind of separate myself.
This is the album that's not bad.
That's great.
Sorry. Don't write a song about that. Well, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate you watching, sharing, liking, subscribing on YouTube for free, or listening on any of the audio podcast apps, including Audible. And if you go to audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow, you can get a free 30-day premium membership. And that includes an MP3 download every month. You can stack the credits, use them a bunch at a time, or anyway, during that free month, you are a full-on premier member, and you get that credit, and it'll continue automatically until you decide not. But there's always new stuff. There's always new podcasts. There's always new audiobooks. There's always new everything on Audible. And when you use that code, that URL, audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow, you're helping support us, as you also are if you were to check out any of the merch, like the glasses, like the clothing, like the jigsaw puzzles, like the beach towel, any of the things. And I will show you the website that I use to behind the scenes, where I just upload the logo, and you just kind of imagine it's like it's kind of blank hoodie or a blank towel, and you just drag the logo around and move it around, and then you say, I like that, and then the next thing you know, you've got a merch store online.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
So that is fantastic, and that is available. The link at frankandfriendshow.com/store. I know you're not doing the social media yourself, but your husband is. Where do we find you on?
Yep. So my social media is my Instagram is Logan Ashley Merle Brakefield, which is Lamb.
I'll link to it all, obviously.
Yeah, all there. But you can find me on pretty much all the streaming or all the platforms of social media.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, any ones you want me to plug specifically or link specifically, whether it's YouTube or Spotify, et cetera, I'll be happy.
Spotify and iTunes and that.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that for you specifically.
Thanks for having me, Frank. You're the best.
I'm glad it worked out, because I sent you. I saw all these things. I saw actually it was Bobby and the Redbird. I thought, oh, that's just sweet. I'll contact Logan and see. You never know. I know you live in Kentucky, and he's like, and you wrote back, I've got 2 kids and I live in Kentucky.
And then literally, within 24 hours, I was like, wait a minute, I can make it work this week.
And here you are, just in time for the debut, the release of the album, Bobby.
So great.
Bobby and the Redbird is the song, but the album is called
Love Mom.
Love Mom. Beautiful, by L.A.M., L.A.M.B. I love it. Well, thanks so much again, and Godspeed to you.
Yes.
All right. And I'll have to find out more about this Catholic radio that you're listening to.
Oh, yeah.
This is the Frank and Friends Show. I'm Frank Murphy.
And I'm Logan.
A.K.A. Lamb.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you again next time.